Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Lunch and Learn session. We'll just give it a minute or two just to let everyone who wants to join come along and join us, and then we'll make a start. Again, warm welcome to everybody who's joined us. We're just going to give it a few more seconds, just let anybody else who'd like to join the session come along, and then we'll make a start. Fantastic. Okay, so welcome to our Lunch and Learn webinar series, where we tell you about what's going on here at Compleat and how you can get the most out of your iCompleat subscription. And today what we're going to be covering is new ways to buy and amend orders in iCompleat. Today we're excited to introduce Enterprise as our Lunch and Learn sponsor. Enterprise almost need no introduction. They're our go-to vehicle hire company of choice here at Compleat, along with many of our customers. You can now hire with Enterprise directly from a widget in our ecosystem and get exclusive savings. So thank you to Enterprise for that. So on today's agenda, what we're going to be looking at is a very brief kind of overview for those who don't yet have the orders module configured in iCompleat. There's some areas of configuration, as you'd expect, that need to be considered and need to be set up. So I'll just have a very quick and brief overview of what those are, just a refresher, and kind of go through the different options that we have available to us. We're then going to have a look at the AI buying tool and also the CXML tool. We'll cover both of those when we come to them. We will also have a look at the making amendments to an approved purchase order, which is in its very early stages at the moment. I can show you how that currently looks. It's still being worked on, so we are labelling it as a coming soon. But as I said, I'm happy to show you what we've got so far. Hopefully, it'll impress. Obviously, all of those we'll be covering in the demo. We'll then have a quick look at the Compleat ecosystem, and then there'll be an opportunity for any questions, and hopefully we'll be able to provide the answers for those. And this is myself. I'm a software implementation consultant here at Compleat, been here for 7-8 years, I think now. Just some logistics. I can see everyone's on mute, which is fantastic. If we can just leave those on mute for the time being. What you should hopefully find on your windows where you're watching this, up at the top, there is a Q&A box or tab. If you're able to, if you have any questions, pop those in there. I will run through those at the end of this session. You just make sure you start a new chat section for each of your questions. That'd be fantastic and help me a lot. Thank you. We do review the recording afterwards, so if we do for any reason miss any of the questions, don't worry, we will get back to you separately. Obviously we are recording the session as well, and everybody who's registered will get a link to the recording, and it'll also be made available on the support site under the Lunch and Learn section. So the benefits of ordering within iCompleat. Just wanted to cover these areas first. So it's obviously going to eliminate manual entry, as we'll see when we look at the AI side, the AI tools that we now have available through the ordering module. You'll see that it's cutting down on the manual entry. Additionally, if you are using the orders module and the suppliers are putting the order number onto the invoices when they're sending in, then the system can auto match. It can inherit coding from the order, so your nominal codes, your analysis codes, etc. It can inherit all of those codings, and it can also then auto submit that down to a workflow. So it can cut out a lot of the manual work. Obviously, you'd be keeping all your orders in one place, giving you the full spend control. As some of you who were attending the budgets lunch and learn session that we did a couple of months ago, you'll see, obviously, hopefully be familiar with the budget functionality. If you haven't or weren't able to attend it, then obviously there's the recording on the support site. Do go and have a look, but you can, by raising orders in iCompleat, you can have the budget module working alongside that, so requisitioners and approvers can see if they are in or over budget. And obviously you've got all the reporting tools, so with the custom report writer that's now available, you can build your own reports around there, so it's keeping it all in one place to give you that overall view. And then the new tools that we have around the orders module, obviously there's the things like the approval selectors, which we will I'll just briefly show you what we mean by that. But instead of having a long list of workflows for a user to choose from, you can use your selectors so that the system is deciding which is the appropriate workflow for it to go down. We've also got catalogs in the system now as well. And obviously the order amendments functionality, which is, again, in its early stages, it's still being worked on, but I have a preview that I can happily share with you today. So on that note, then let's delve in to the demonstration side of the system, and I'll just move that across. So I'm in a demonstration copy of iCompleat, and this is my company that I've got. And as I said, we'll just have a very quick overview of the config side required to get the orders module up and running. Obviously, you'll need to be giving users access to the orders side. So within configuration and users, you would be looking to give the users access to things like create an order. There's the new amend orders function. So that's an important one to remember for the amendment of orders, which we will be covering in this session as well. There is also an edit order. So the difference between these two is that edit order would be for an approver. So you can have it so that a requisition is submitted out for approval and the approver has the ability to amend any of the coding, etc. So that's what edit orders will do, whereas amend orders is once that requisition has been final approved and becomes an order, the order itself can now be amended after the event. But as I said, it's still in its configuration stage. Sorry, still in its in the process of being built here at Compleat. So it won't yet be available, but it is coming soon. But as I said, I can show you what we've got so far. So obviously, just going back to the configuration side, once you've given the users the ability to create orders, etc., you'd then be looking to create a layout. And what the layouts will do is basically govern which fields are being requested by the users when they are creating a requisition, wanting to raise an order. So I've got an example here. This one here is a layout specifically for CapEx purchases. I've got another one here which is for regular purchase orders, and I've got one here which is for Amazon purchases. And what we're looking to do within here is tell the system obviously the name of the layout and then which fields are required. Now you don't have to have all fields being requested by the requisitioners. You could have it so that they are literally just asking, putting in the description and the quantity and the cost, no coding. You can do the coding at the invoicing side, but obviously if you want to really maximize on the automation, if the requisitioners are putting that coding in at the requisition stage, then at least that coding can be automatically copied across and save you from having to do it at the invoicing stage. But once we've got our layout created, we'd then be looking to create a workflow for our orders as well. Now, I've got here a series of workflows, which if I didn't have the selectors functionality activated, remember when we look at the slides, we talked about selectors, workflow selectors. If I didn't have selectors activated, then what the system would do is show me each of these workflows available to choose from when I was submitting a requisition. So if I just show you in another company that I've got here, if I go to create orders, click on here to add an order, you'll see that down at the bottom, submit. If I click onto here, I've got a whole list of workflows to choose from, and it'll be down to the users to make sure they're choosing the correct workflow. If we have the selectors functionality activated, I'll go to the same screen, but in my company where it is activated, you'll notice I've just got submit, and there's no upward arrow or anything, just a submit button. Because what's working in the background is with the new selectors functionality activated, we are able to tell the system within each individual workflow under which circumstances that particular workflow is to trigger. So I've got my stationery, which is saying if the transaction type or the layout is equal to order. I've got my CapEx, which is saying if the layout is equal to CapEx purchases. I've got Amazon, which is saying, or should say, if the supplier is equal to Amazon. So we can build in all of these different criteria into these selectors, which will then enable the system to decide for us. Now, the key thing when using the selectors is we have to make sure that these are in the correct order, and that's what these line buttons here are for. So I know that my CapEx and my stationery workflows are based off of the layout, and I know my Amazon is based off of the supplier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the system that I want to have my Amazon workflow sitting at the very top. I want it to look to see where the supplier is equal to Amazon across all layouts. Then what I want to do is have it where it's a specific layout for CapEx and a specific layout for fast track orders. And then I'll have my stationery and services, which will just be department codes driven. So all layouts are just on department codes. We just need to make sure that we're getting those in the correct order of importance, basically. But yeah, once we've got our workflows put in place, whether we're doing it the original way of having it so the users can choose the workflow, whether we are having one big workflow that is then governing everything and everything is configured within that one workflow, or whether we're using selectors, we need to get the workflows into the system. And then the last thing is under this ordering and matching tab here, we just have things available to us like the purchase order template, where we would create a template and add a logo, etc. into there, update the colors, etc., put any footer text in there. And then we have the ability to kind of control things like whether we are using receipting or not, and whether we're sending orders automatically to suppliers, etc. So very quick, brief rundown on what's involved in getting the orders module up and running. Obviously, there is further information on that on the support site. We have got previous lunch and learn sessions as well that you're welcome to go and review for that. If not, obviously get in contact with us here at Compleat, and we will happily talk with you through the process. So that's a quick look at how to get orders into the system, or rather the configuration done if you aren't already using it. Let's have a look at the online ordering side. So down here I've got two tiles, one for Amazon Business, one for Screwfix. You may already have these set up yourselves. You may find that you've got more units on a carousel that's scrolling round and round. There are two key different types of plugins or punch out functionalities, if you like, that the system will use. There is the Amazon Business Style, which is referred to as a CXML. Now, that's not something that you need to particularly make sure that you remember or be privy to. Basically, what that means is that the website that we are connecting to, in this case Amazon Business, has the technology and is also allowing us to connect to it in a fashion whereby we can claw back the information from the order and use that to create a requisition. But also what we can do is, once the requisition has been approved within iCompleat, we can send that information back and have that processed as an order directly on Amazon's website. So that's the CXML style website, and we're very much governed by the suppliers themselves as to whether we can or cannot do that. An example of where we can't would be another one of these suppliers, for example Screwfix, whereby we are able to bring back the information for the requisition itself. That requisition can go off for approval, but once the order has been created within iCompleat, that will then have to be put through the cart functionality within that supplier's website manually. So the CXML, it will send the order automatically. The plugin is where it would have to be put through manually once the requisition has been confirmed. I'll show you how the two look in the system. So if we're looking at Amazon Business, for example, I would click onto the Amazon Business tile, and that is going to take me to Amazon Business website. Now, there are credentials that need to be obtained, and there is setup that needs to be done in order to get this to actually work. I'll show you where you can get hold of that in a moment. But I've connected to my Amazon Business, and what I'll be able to do is to go through and purchase using the same experience as if I've gone directly to Amazon. I can add things to my basket and then proceed to checkout, etc. It will ask me for delivery address, and then this is where I'd have my basket ready to go in. Now you'll notice here it's saying submit order for approval. Instead of taking me to the checkout to put in payment details, this is where it's saying it's going to submit it for approval. And so what will happen, I've got in my basket some desk-lit laminating pouches. If I submit the order for approval, what it's going to do is put those pouches into a requisition for me, like so. And the benefits of using the online buying functionality is that it's automatically brought back the item code, the exact description used by the supplier, its cost, how many we ordered, etc., etc. And it's literally just leaving me the requirement of adding any missing information that obviously Amazon wouldn't know. So in this case, if I hover over the exclamation mark, that's the account code and the tax code that I want to use. It's also brought through the shipping line as well, which is all good. And all I need to do is code up those lines. So whether I'm clicking directly into the line or I'm using my quick actions to choose my tax code, I choose the lines to apply it to, and I can do the same with my account code as well, code that up. What we could also do is we could use supplier defaults as well. So if a particular supplier was always using always going to be the same code, then we can use our supplier defaults. Just save that down. You'll find once you've saved it, in fact, sorry, no, once we have processed the requisition, we'll have a defaults button appear that we can then set up the defaults for the supplier. But as you can see, as I said, it's brought through the item code of the description from Amazon's website itself. Now, obviously what I then need to do, make sure all the information is correct. You can see it's automatically chosen the supplier of Amazon. I've got a specific Amazon layout that it has picked up for me automatically as well. I just need to submit that out for approval. Now, as I was saying, with Amazon, all these CXML sites, once it has been approved, what you would find is the order would be automatically electronically uploaded to Amazon. They would fulfill it there and then and obviously send you the invoice for that. Now, in order to be able to get Amazon up and running, there are credentials that are needed, and there's also a little bit of configuration in your Amazon business account that's required. Now, that is all documented on the support site. If you were to type in credentials, you'll see an article pop up for get your Amazon business credentials, and it will take you through step by step how to get your Amazon business credentials, the other configuration work that needs to be done within Amazon business, etc. Most customers would go as far as getting the credentials and then hand them over to us, and we can then set you up on the Amazon business side for the online buying. So as I said, if you haven't got it, if it's something that you did want to get, by all means, if you wanted to go through it yourself, then it is there. But if you wanted to have a go at just getting as far as the credentials and then let us have those, we can set the rest up for you and obviously talk about different layouts and any particular workflows, etc. Now, the other route, as I was saying, this non-CXML or this plugin route, is where what we would do is we would have the link to the particular supplier, and again, any of the online buying suppliers that you'd like to use, let us, if you just drop us a line, get in contact with us either to support or to client services with the supplier you'd like to use. It may well be that we've already got a plugin or CXML capability set up for them, but if we haven't, we can certainly do that for you, and then we can help get it set up. But if I go through the Screwfix example that I've got here, click on Screwfix, you can see it takes me directly to their website. And the way that these ones work is that, again, go through the usual buying experience. So buy some light bulbs and continue shopping. Let's get something else in there as well. Shower rail, so we'll add that to the basket as well, and obviously that's building up our basket quite nicely. So if I now go to the checkout, what we need to do here is we would then need to bring in our AI plugin to extract the information from the basket and send it into iCompleat. So up at the top here, probably can't see it unfortunately, but it is a little blue icon up here, which is my integrated online buying sidebar or plugin that will activate the sidebar. Now, to get this, we would need to go to the Google Chrome web store and search for either Compleat, COMPLEAT, or a search for integrated online buying AI. There are two in there. You just need the AI version, and downloading and installing that plugin will give you this icon here. Once you've got that, what you'll be able to do through the supplier's website, we can then click onto that link and it brings the integrated online buying panel across. If I click on to scan cart, what you can see is very quickly it has scanned what's in my cart. So there's my light bulb, there's my curtain rail, and it's also produced a line for shipping as well, which we don't have any shipping. But what you're able to do here is you can show the gross amounts. If it was presenting gross, you can also amend these as well. So if we know that it's going to include a shipping of $5.99, what we can do is we can pop in our $5.99 into there and apply, and it's updated that for us. We can add additional lines as well from here. And once we've got everything that we need, we click on submit. That's going to submit the cart back to iCompleat as well. And again, all we need to do is just code up the remaining areas. So whether we're going through individually or whether we are using our quick actions, we would be looking to code that up and submit it out for approval. Now, again, the key difference between the two is that the plugin suppliers won't electronically send that order back to the supplier. So what we would be looking to do is, once we've got that order approved, is to come back to Screwfix, back to our checkout, and then complete the payment as normal to then have that order completed and fulfilled with them. And again, it's all down to the suppliers themselves, how their websites are built, whether they have the CXML capability and whether we are allowed to plug into them. If you have any suppliers that do have a CXML able websites that you would like to have that electronic auto submitting of the order up to them, then please do get in touch. Let us know who we can speak to there, and we can certainly look to get that built for you. But as I said, we're very much governed by the supplier themselves. So that's the online buying side of things. And as I said, you may find that you've either got none because you haven't yet got any online buying set up, or you've got a whole carousel of different online buyers. And what you'll find is you may well have a combination of CXML and plugins in there, all working in a different way. Now, the other thing that we were going to look at is the amendments of orders. So, as I said, this is currently still being worked on. It's not yet released, but do watch out for notifications and announcements. Hopefully they will be coming out soon to you. With the amendments side of things, there is some configuration available. If we just quickly go to the configuration side, go to our ordering and matching, what you would see is a post-approval amendments section sitting here. So manage whether amendments are permitted for approved orders. So you can have it on a company level. If you're multi-company within iCompleat, you can control which companies do and which ones don't allow amendments. Remembering back to when we're looking at the users, you're giving individual users the ability to amend orders as well. So you could have it that not everybody can do it. And we can, or rather will be able to control whether it's amendments on the order itself and later down the line when the order has been matched to an invoice. So what I'm going to show you at the moment is only up to the point of actually matching the order to an invoice. So at the moment, it can only do it if it hasn't been matched to an invoice. We've also got this option here, which is reissue order amendments to suppliers. So this is governing whether we are automatically going to reissue any amendments out to the supplier, or whether we want to have that controlled on a supplier level, or whether we want to have the user decide whether they are going to send that manually or not. So it's here that we would be saying that we, if I have that toggled on, we're saying we do want everything to go automatically back to the supplier. But if I toggle that off, we'll say no, we don't. But what we would then be able to do is through the suppliers tile from the main home page is on our supplier configuration. We can then decide which suppliers we do want to have send automatically, if any. But as I said, we can ultimately still have the user manually send them once the amendment has been approved. So that's so far the only configuration that would be required. So that's the users, and then in the ordering tile of the configuration side. Once those have been switched on, what that would give you is if we go into the orders side, and if I go to the approved orders, I've got some here that I have been playing with already. We'll come into here. What we'll find is that as well as the notes and any related transactions, there is an amendment history section that will be built up. And if I click onto there, what that's going to show me is all of the amendments that have happened against a particular order. So I've got version 1. It was amended by Abigail and its status is approved. And if I click onto there, what it's doing is it's now giving me the rundown of what the original values were and what the new values were. So you'll see in here that we've got line 1, laptop, no item code, department account code, etc. looks all to be the same. When we come to the quantity, we can see that the quantity has changed. It was originally 4, but that's been struck through and it's now showing a 3 with the unit cost of 1,000, which means that what was a 4,000 value is now a 3,000 value. And what we'd find is if we then go and have a look at the documents and timeline, is that we've got a revision 1, and it automatically shows us that revision. But if I come up to here, you can see sitting behind it is the original version as well. So there's our quantity 4 and our revision 1 is now quantity 3. Now to make the amendments, very nice and simple, all we'd be looking to do, any approved or currently it is receipted as well, I think, but certainly any approved order, we'd be looking to come into it, actions, and we'd see there's an amend functionality sitting right there. So we click onto amend. It's telling us up at the top, according to our settings, that we are not going to automatically issue. So what we'd be looking to do is go to actions and then reissue to the supplier if indeed we wanted to. But what we'll find is that we are able to now amend things like the coding, so the tax code, the there we go, come over here, the account code. We can amend an analysis up at the top in the header. We can't change the supplier. The supplier is locked. We can change the title, delivery address, delivery date. We can also change the descriptions, item codes, etc. We can delete lines, add lines, make all the changes required, pretty much anything apart from changing the actual supplier. Once we've got our changes completed in the system, you notice we've only got 2 buttons, a cancel or a submit. So we are encouraging the users to make those changes there and then, either commit to the changes or cancel out of those changes, because what we don't want to have happen is the situation whereby we've got approved orders that are then in mid-flight for any changes. So it's either a cancel or a submit. But once we are happy with those changes, so if I just change the quantity of this here, and we'll increase that to there. So my order number 77, if I submit order number 77 out for approval, what we would find is that when we have, oh, I'm missing some coding, when we have approved that in the approval or in the amendment section, it would then tell me that it is, or rather those are the changes that we have made. So we'll just wait for that to go through. I think it would have done it automatically, hopefully. Have I got order 77? Yes, I have. So if I now go back into there, amendment history, looks like it's updating. Oh, no, it has done it. So you can see here, it's automatically recorded that straight away. The fact that it was originally 10, we've reduced it to 5. It was 10, we've increased it to 15. And obviously that's had an effect on the net value as well. And then from our documents and timeline, we'd see that we've got our revision 1 for our new quantities or amendments. but we still have our original version sitting here as well. Now, obviously, mine just went straight through the workflow because I've got automatic approval selected, just for the purposes of this demonstration. But so you'd find yourselves that it would go through any workflows and any approvals that are required, but it will always keep that audit history there for you. So as I said, that is the first phase. It's only for when an order has not been matched to an invoice, and do keep an eye out for notifications for when it is out and available to yourselves. So just before we jump into any questions, I just wanted to quickly mention the ecosystem. So it's our built-in supplier network that connects businesses with trusted providers across a huge range of industries. Whether you're looking for office supplies, financial solutions, or specialized services, the ecosystem makes it seamless to find, connect with, and buy from the best suppliers without all the usual hassle. And what you'll find here is just a snapshot of the many suppliers available through our platform. And obviously there's Enterprise Rent-A-Car, who are kindly sponsoring this session. So that brings me to the questions. If anybody has any questions, I appreciate there was quite a lot to digest that we went through just now. I will just have a look and see if we've got any questions that have come through. As I said, if we do inadvertently miss any, then we always go through the recordings within a few days, so we will come back to you separately. Can't see any coming through yet, but typically the sort of things that I get asked when we're looking at the orders side of things is whether we can have different layouts, and as we've seen where we went through the configuration side, yes, we can have different layouts asking for different levels of information. So it could be that a CapEx purchase order request only needs a nominal code, whereas a stationary purchase would need a department and then a cost center code, etc. So you can have different layouts asking for different levels of information. You can restrict users as well as to whether they can see those layouts or not. And you can have as many layouts really as you like. Obviously, there'll be a caveat to huge quantities. You can have many layouts, but do bear in mind that obviously it's when it comes to being a requisitioner, we don't want to bombard everybody with having to select from too many layouts when they're going through creating their requisition, because obviously that's going to be loss of their attention, and we'll probably find that they don't want to raise a requisition because it's too lengthy. But yes, you can see I've got my two layouts here, one for purchase orders and one for capital or CapEx purchases, and we could have it that only a select few have access to this particular layout. When it comes to the workflows, obviously we talked about the selectors side. You don't have to have it that all of the workflows are hidden. You can still choose which workflow to use. So for example, what we could do is, if I go to the configuration side, go to workflows. So this is with the selectors activated. I could say, actually, we need the users to be able to choose whether it's stationary or services. Everything else can be driven by analysis within the system. So within the workflow itself, there's a hide for selection. So if I deactivate or switch off hide for selection on my stationary workflow, and then do the same on my services, then what you would find is, remembering that we've got 5 order workflows in total, we can then, if we were to go to orders and if we were to look at submitting, we can see that we've now got an upward facing arrow. So we can either have the system determine, or we could manually choose one of these two where the hide function has been switched off. So you can have a mixture of being able to choose or have the system choose for you. And then questions that get asked around the plugins or the CXML buying functionality within the system is most of the time it's how do we get them set up. So best way is just to reach out to ourselves, whether it's on through the customer services or through support, and let's have a chat about which supplier it is. If it's one that we've already got, then no problem. If it's one that may require a login to get access to specific pricing, for example, then we may need to just test that to make sure that the AI component can pick up everything. But as I said, to get the online buying side set up in the first instance, just give us a shout and we'd be happy to look at that for you. And finally, on the question front, I can see a question has come in. Any idea when the order amendments facility will be available? As I said, unfortunately, not yet, but we are hoping it's going to be very soon. But keep an eye out for notifications and updates, and hopefully we'll be with you soon. Fantastic. Just check, haven't got any other questions hiding around anywhere. No, all looks good. So yeah, that just leaves me to obviously just confirm that there'll be a session takeaway that will be sent across to yourselves. If there is any further information on the order amendments, we'll make sure we include that in there as to its when that functionality will be available. The next session we've got booked is 15th September, 12 o'clock. Obviously, keep an eye out for the invitations on there. And as we always say, if there's anything in particular that you would like to see or go through on a lunch and learn session, then please do let us know. Obviously, there's our contact details for customer success. So any questions, obviously customer success or client services or support. But that just leaves me to say thank you ever so much for your attendance. Hope you found the session of use. If you do think of any questions, please do give us a shout. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for coming, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you. Bye.